poke and make fun and all that kind of good stuff. But, honestly, when you take a look at this, um, there's a reason for that. But I don't think just because he gets to wear that, that label and that people are using that all the time. I look at him, and I also did some research on Steve Jobs and what made him, what sets him apart. Why are we looking at their quotes? Why are we listening to these people? Why are we sharing these inspirational quotes from these guys? What are they doing that's so different? What is it? Is it what they're eating? Yup. Is it what they're drinking? Yep. But what else are they doing? They are investing time into their craft. And so I started looking at that. Well, what does, Tom Brady do? What's he doing? Well, for one thing, he gets up at 6 every day and he works out for 4 hours. I don't do that. I can guarantee you I don't do that. I don't know if everybody else that's listening does. But we sit and we do we sit back and we poke fun and we make fun of and all that kind of stuff of these folks. And when in fact, they're working pretty darn hard for these names and for their jobs and what they're doing. So I took a look at it and I found out that, he actually, in his process and what he does, it's not just physically working out. It is a lot of things. He studies a lot. He does a lot of meditation. He does a lot of, so he invests. So even like if he isn't practicing for the game, or even if it isn't football season, this is a guy that never ever ever stops, and he keeps this regimen up on a daily basis. And so I was thinking about, and then I read, Steve Jobs. I started looking into that, while he was, God rest his soul, but while he was alive, I took a look at that, and he wasn't really liked. I mean, everybody was like trying to, challenge him, and there was all this conflict about what was he doing and what are you doing with your time and what have you done and that sort of thing, and I saw a couple of video clips where this guy just owned it. He's like, you know what? Not everybody's going to like me or what we're doing here or whatever. And you're right if you're questioning it. But on the other hand, I would have loved to have asked, when you've got those people questioning somebody like Steve Jobs when he was doing what he was doing, or you've got somebody questioning, what is going on, say, for example, Tom Brady, he cheats, he this, he that. What are you doing? What does your day look like? And I'm not saying that, I stand behind whether somebody cheated or not, or whether somebody was doing this, or while they're raking in the money and all that sort of stuff. What are you doing to be the greatest of all time? As human beings, why aren't we all striving to be goats, if you will? What is it that we could do, and I especially, there's no better time than to think about working out than when you can't. And you're sitting there and you're like, man, if I just could, I would. Well, I started out the show talking about a lot of different things that I can't. No, I can't actually do the squats the way I want to. I can't actually do leg lifts the way I want to, but I can lift weights. I can work on my, my torso area and keep that going. It's so easy for us as individuals to say, well, I'm limited in this. And I hear this in sales all the time, well, I couldn't because of this, or it was this, or it was what. Let me tell you something. If you're in sales and you have a voice and you have a telephone, you can sell. If you have paper, email, and a voice and a phone, you can sell. You can introduce. You can pick up the phone. There are no excuses for you to be the greatest of all time salesperson, doctor, landscaper. We have to look at that before we can look at the universe and say, have I given it all I got? And so as I say this to you, I just, I'm a social media girl. I love my Facebook. I love my LinkedIn. I dabble around in Twitter a bit and, a little bit in Instagram. I mean, I'm not dangerous as far as posting things. I'm more the puppy, kitty, isn't it a wonderful day? Let's have positive thoughts kind of person. But I do end up reading some of the negativity that's out there in the masses. And I hear people say things like, they bring so much negativity into their day. I'll see people say things like, it's Facebook, man. What happened to freedom of speech? And why are they taking down, my post? And what's going on here? And why is this happening? Guess what? Start your own website. That's freedom of speech. If I have a website and I'm building one right now, if I have a website and I get a message on there and I have a forum where people can air quote be open, tell me what your thoughts are, that kind of thing. If I got something on there I don't like, I'm deleting it. So the team of the Zuckerbergs, whether we don't like it or not, if they're deleting your disgusting post or something that they don't like, they have the power to do that. It's not a forum where you do just get to say whatever you want. And oh, by the way, your comments and what you're saying and what you're doing, is that for the better or is that hindering? What are we doing as far as moving forward to be the greatest human beings of all time? So I was looking at this and how we can go into that vortex of negativity, and where we it's almost like people sometimes prefer to dance. And so I want to be the greatest of all time. I decided that. I made that decision probably within the past 7 days. And I don't do this arrogantly. I might not ever be there. I might not ever be in a situation where somebody goes, man, that Bev, she's a goat. She's the greatest of all time. I may never get there, and that's okay. But you know what? I'm going to try. And I'm going to live a little bit different. And I'm going to look at what these successful people do. The training, the getting up at the same time every day, the working out every day, hours. Ryan Gosling, great movie. Oh, La La Land. Wow, this is a great movie. They win awards. They do, actor, actress. Everybody's nominated. It's a fabulous thing, and people are just enamored. But most of the people that see that, they see it for what it is. People in the industry really see it for what it took to get there. So I looked at some fun things, and I saw that Ryan Gosling, every single day for 2 solid months, 4 hours of piano every day. Because what they didn't want is to have someone else playing piano and him looking like he was playing piano. So there was that authenticity. And usually when a director and a producer of a movie or a television show pays attention, to authenticity, that's when you get the award winners. That's when you get the Mad Men. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen that show on television, but it was so authentic, and they did so much homework and so much preparation for one scene that it was so important for them to get the integrity there. That's why it became an amazing show. Bradley Cooper, 6 months, every day. He was getting up, he was working out every single day for 6 months, doing his normal, routine, and then learning how to sing, how to play, how to look like a musician every day. He wasn't a musician. And the reason why people like that is because he kind of looked like a musician and they could relate to it. And it had a believability factor, And so it's those kinds of things and those kinds of methods that I'm really researching as to what could make me better. I'm not there yet. I have a life. I'm very happy with certain things in my life, but I'm always striving to be better. Have something taken away from you, however small it is, my little fractured ankle, and it kind of shakes you up and you're like, well, I thought I was in control. No, you're not. And so you think of last things that you're thinking of before something like that happens, or what were you doing to prepare for? And I actually think in my brain, and I'm telling myself this, that my accident with my leg could have been a lot worse if it was like a year or so ago, a couple of years ago, where I wasn't working out, I wasn't taking protein, I wasn't taking vitamins, I wasn't taking good care of myself, and this little fracture probably would have been a break, because I've been preparing. I'm trying to be a little bit more to the universe and to others, to be just a more positive energy putting out there, instead of just imagining, well, why not me, or why isn't this happening with me, and that sort of thing. So a couple of things that I'm looking at as I train to be, and laugh if you will, but I do want to be the greatest of all time. And I want to be the greatest of all time trying person. I'm going to try. And I want to be that person that somebody says, you know what, that Bev, she tries so hard. That's what she does. And she may not get there, but boy, does she try. And boy, does she give it her best. That's what I want. And I'm inspired by people who are in my life and the people that I've researched. We're born, and the only manual or the only training that we get are the people that are introduced into our souls, introduced into our environment. It's our parents, it's our family, it's our teachers. That's our training. We don't get to choose that. So at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, there's no choice. We are doing and going through the training period of what other people are telling us. Once you get to be, a little bit older, and you get out there in the world, you get to start making choices. And it's when we get to the opportunity to make choices for ourselves, hey, my mom and dad did it this way, I'm going that way. I'm going to try it this way. I got a better idea. My teachers told me this, I'm going to do this. And so you get to start making those choices. And you should. Everybody should try. I always say, if you're making mistakes, then you are trying. If you are failing, then you are trying. So don't misunderstand me. But we have an opportunity to kind of wear down ourselves through trying. Doing a little bit of research, and someone shared with me, in order to build muscles, we actually have to break them down. And so that, they can actually absorb and become a stronger muscle. And I know that I knew this. I know that I have been told this once in my life, but boy, did I forget that when you are building those muscles, it's at rest. It's not while you're working them out. So we're working them out, we're working with the weights, we're doing all the exercises, the sit-ups, or whatever, the pull-ups, all of that. But it isn't until we do all of those routines, all of those sets, all of those counts, it isn't until we rest, and probably a good night's sleep, is when those are actually building. So I looked at life that way. If we are building, stretching, trying, getting jobs, giving it a go, this doesn't work or whatever, and we keep trying, it's almost like those muscles that we're working out. But if we are not trying, and if we're not putting ourselves out there to the universe, getting told no, standing up, brushing ourselves off, and giving it another go, and going in this direction because that one didn't work, and having the ability to be flexible and pivot and kind of go around. Imagine yourself in that boxing ring where you're dipping and you're going low, and then you go high, you're swinging and that kind of thing. That's why people get all wrapped up into sports and boxing and all that stuff. Even though I could never get in the ring, I have learned to dip and put my head above and swing so that I actually connect. My life has taught me that. And so I've been training for that. And I'm at a place now to where, I want to put some of that into action. Be it a little bit stronger, or, I'm hobbling around on these crutches. I'm telling you, I did not know that using crutches was all the weight on your hands, and that your armpits, I don't have any sore. There's no pain in my armpits. There's no nothing, because they taught me right there in the urgent care, you put all the weight on that. And it was very hard for me to push and put all of my weight on the palms of my hands on two sticks. And having